When I started this YouTube, welcome to my channel, Better Monday Fasting. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about Mexico, my experience of Mexico. So it won't be directly a video on fasting, but I'm sure we'll touch on fasting at one point. It's such such an important part of my life that I'm sure there'll be some words on fasting as well. Before getting started, nothing I share in this video is medical advice, so please do your own research before making any health-related decisions. Yeah, like with fasting, you know, like sometimes you fast, and you have to take a break from fasting. You kind of have to forget about it, so then it will be more fun when you miss it, you know. So it will be more fun when you come back to fasting. So I kind of want to do the same. Like lately, I've been doing. So I wrote my book For a Better Monday in English on fasting. Just finished the Spanish translation. And I started like these two channels, you know, this channel and also a channel in Spanish on fasting. So lately there's been a lot of talking and reading about fasting, but kind of like hearing my own voice kind of on fasting. I mean, it wouldn't be, I think I wouldn't mind it that much if I was doing research and you know, hearing other voices, but it's been a lot of like you know, talking about fasting, writing about fasting, sharing about fasting, promoting the book about fasting. Like, so yeah, I wanted to shoot a video that is a little bit like different, on a different topic. So I don't know if one video will be enough, or it's kind of a big topic, but we'll see. Like, yeah, I mean, it's. I wanted to talk about my relationship to Mexico. I discovered Mexico. I mean, my first, you know, image of Mexico, it was Mexico '86. You know, so in '84, my family moved from Turkey to Switzerland, and the '82 World Cup, I don't remember it. Maybe I've seen it, you know, maybe it was in the background and somewhere, but like the 80, like the 80, the 80, Mexico '86, that was the, so it had been like 2 years, like with my family, we've been living in Switzerland, and they have those albums, like Panini albums. It's like an Italian brand, and you buy it's like an album, and it has all the teams, and then you buy like bags of stickers with the soccer players, like mugshot, you know. Then you have to complete it's a whole. Then you exchange the cards and stuff, like. And that World Cup was just like amazing, you know, with Maradona and the Mexican wave, you know, like in the stadium. And so that was my first. And the logo, like it was like a cactus-looking guy, I think, it's a cactus with the sombrero, something like that. But I was obsessed with all I think I completed my book, but it was really difficult. Like near the end, there was this one Spanish player that we couldn't, like nobody in my village. it was super rare, like yeah. And then it was back then. I mean, I grew up in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, and on that tournament also France was pretty, like, yeah, they had Platini and all that, like, and then. So Argentina won with Armando Diego Maradona. It was like So that was my first that was like my first like image of Mexico, and it was like something like yeah, something very like fun, because it's soccer, it's the summer, and it's like it's good vibes. And so then in yeah, I have to cross here. It's like a kind of a dangerous spot. Yeah, as I said it, like in another video, there's no rules there's no traffic rules basically in Paraguay. It's a negotiation. It's very libertarian. There's no speed limit, I heard. So when you come at the crossroad, it's like, you know, you kind of look at each other, and so yeah. And then in '99, I moved to San Diego. I moved to San Diego, California. Basically, I moved to Mexico. Yeah, I mean, it's one way to look at it. I mean, it's like San Diego. It's a little bit like, I mean, of course it's not, but parts of it. I mean, if you go to National City, Chula Vista, it's like, it feels a little bit like, you know, living in Mexico with the infrastructure of the US, you know. But it's not. I mean, San Diego has its own identity, but the Mexican identity is huge. It's huge in San Diego. Like it's hard to tell, but I mean, more than maybe 60-70% of my friends, maybe they were like of Mexican origin, or somehow like, you know, Mexican American, maybe like their family been there for a really long time. But like, it's very so that was my kind of like second contact, like with the Mexican culture, and it worked really well. Like, it kind of, I don't want to say it saved my life, but I think it made me stay. That's kind of one of the factors that made me stay in the US, because when I went to the US to rock and roll, that was my agenda. And then I ended up going to college, learning English, and the whole band thing and rock and roll dream, like it was really working out, you know, like to our level, you know, nothing too crazy, but for me it was crazy. Like, I was really living my dream, you know. And but I mean, with the US culture, you know, it's so different than Europe, you know. It's so different than Europe. It's so different than Turkey. I mean, I was born in Turkey. I grew up in Switzerland, which is like super different, you know, culture-wise. But in the US, there were moments, like especially in California, I was reflecting on. I was just like, if we had to grade, you know, and you know, the warmth of, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to say warmth of people, because the US people are warm, but like certain concepts of like friendship, like marriage, you know, like let's say on a scale of like similarities, you know. I mean, if Turkey is at 1 and Switzerland maybe is at 3, but the US is at like 10, you know. It's like it's on the other side of the spectrum, you know. Like I mean, I know there's been like lots of like German immigrants like in the US. I mean, they have this European heritage, but let me tell you, they have nothing to do with Europeans. Like, it's like a whole different culture. Even like you have those guys from the Bronx, I'm Italian. You're not. Like, go to Italy, you'll see that you're not Italian. You're from New York. You know, it's that's my opinion. So it's kind of hard, like for even though I had like that, I already had that cultural flexibility. Like, I mean, it's just that you know, everything is working well. You know, I get stuff done in the US, and I was like living my dream, like playing in bands and stuff, but oh, there's always something that's gonna be missing, you know, for like a European person. Like in the US, it's just not it's just the US is way too yeah, everything is business, you know, and nothing wrong with that. But like for example, I mean, it's cultures though. Like an American picnic, it's 35 minutes, you know. It's like, because in the US, like a weekend, like US people will, you know, they will go maybe, let's go to soccer in the morning, you know, they do their little soccer, and then they'll have their picnic, 35 minutes, like sandwiches, all really well organized. Then let's go to Costco, and then to the movies. Like they'll do 10,000 things, you know. Whereas like Europeans or Turks, I mean, if you're gonna do a picnic, that's the only thing you're gonna do, you know. And it's gonna be very, it's gonna be, it's not gonna be those square, you know, like toast breads cut in triangles. No, it's gonna be way more involved, you know. There's gonna be barbecue, like it's gonna, yeah, it's like, and people are just gonna hang out. So it's way less productive, the European culture. I mean, it's just when you see friends, I mean, it might have changed now, but especially in Turkey, like, I mean, if you see friends, there's it's open-ended, you know. Hey, let's see, and you go to a coffee shop, and then, oh, are you hungry? Okay, let's go eat, and let's do the good. No, it's a different type of. Whereas in the US, I mean, especially if you have work, I mean, you can be having the best time in your life. You know, you can be at a party or, you know, social gathering, and you say, oh, I gotta go, I have work to do, and people understand. You know, like in Turkey, to leave a party, it's impossible. Like, it's like you have to, and they're gonna insist, no, stay. But we were going to cut the watermelon, and you know, it's like you cannot leave like that party. Like it's impossible. And they're gonna be like, but what do you, like, they're gonna be intrusive. You know, they're gonna ask you like, but what do you need to do? And you're like, oh, well, you know, I have to paint the. Oh no, I can take care of that. Like, I know this guy who can do it. Like, don't worry, don't, you know. Whereas in the US, you're like just gotta go, you know. So it's different. I think I really, to get stuff done, it's just great. Like the US I love it. But once you are like formatted, your brain is formatted. In the, well, you have a dog here. He doesn't like me. And yeah, so to get things done, it's great. But then if your brain is formatted from the other side of the ocean, even though you're going to adapt and you're going to love your experience in the US, it's just something is always going to be missing, you know. That's the thing. I mean, Europeans, they say, all these dogs. It's also socially, I mean, it's very warm in a way. Like California at least. But it's not always very deep, you know. And some Europeans told me, I don't know how much I agree, but they say, you know, like Americans, they open their arms like wide open, but they never close it, you know. I don't totally agree. It's just that I think it's a different way of looking at life. but they also have feelings. They also have, like I see it more like Mac and Windows. You know, US and Europe, it's a little bit like that. But I mean, if you're formatted Windows from Europe, you're gonna have a hard time. At one point, I had to reformat my brain. So in that sense, like having all the that Mexican culture was great for me, because somehow they're more like, I mean, even though they live in that reality and they're not maybe like the Mexicans living in Mexico, you know, because they have to adapt to that reality. Like you have to be punctual and like, you know, it's like, you know, but there's that warmth, like that social warmth. And also when like dating and stuff, like the girls are there, like they were satisfying that side of me that comes more from the other side of the Atlantic. I mean, because in the US it's so like capitalistic and it's so go. I mean, at one point I didn't even have a smartphone, but like I had like 1,000 number or something in my phone, you know. But at night when you go to bed, you feel alone, you know. That's the thing about like what keeps you connected to life. It's your work, it's the things you're getting done, if you're a musician, your band, your tours, you know, the guys from the scene. But yeah, it's like something is missing, but it's not the fault of the US people, you know. It's just different format. It's just that you grew up in another culture and that thing doesn't exist there, you know. But with Mexicans it does to a certain extent. And also like how like the family values and like and also like they like the culture with food. That's where like I would relate a lot with Mexicans, because the whole, you know, frozen food, microwave, like all that stuff I can't. I mean, as much as I love the US, all that stuff, like all that culture that you know, I'm eating to fill up like the tank of my car. It's yeah, like I'm really not like that. Like I rather, like I'm doing now, eat way less and keep the quality, keep the time, and dedicate time and respect food, you know. And in that sense too, like the Mexican culture, they're more, I mean, they have a palate, they have a cuisine. Even though like when the Mexican food you'll get in California, I mean, now that I lived like over 3 years in Mexico, lived in more than 23 cities. I mean, the food that you'll get in the US, sold to you as Mexican food, it has, in rare occasions, like you'll get real Mexican food. Maybe it has changed. But yeah, for all these reasons, like I was like I really had a good connections like with the Mexicans. And I think I stayed because I stayed 11.5 years in San Diego. And I always say, if it wasn't for, say, if I was instead of San Diego, I had gone to a US city where there's no Mexicans, I don't know, maybe there will be another group. Maybe there will be like Persians or like Middle Easterns, and that would have made me stay. But or Asian culture too. Like Asian culture is also something that is somehow like close to home. Like I don't know how, but it's very also like the food culture and I mean, it might be personal. My best friend is like a brother of mine. He's Japanese, and I grew up with him, so it might be also a personal thing. But I yeah, I mean, it's kind of difficult to talk about like this type of cultural things, but they're it's a reality, you know. And it's not to say that you know, one culture is bad or they're missing something. No, it's just that you know, when you grew up somewhere, like sometimes you get used to certain things, you know, and when they're not there, and I'm sure, like, when you take a guy who spent all his life in the U.S. and you put him somewhere where things are not like working smoothly, there's no customer service. I mean, the guy's gonna freak out, you know, because he's used to that. I mean, that's just normal for him, you know. So yeah, in that sense, it would have been, without the Mexicans, I think it would have been very difficult. So I lived 11 and a half years in San Diego and made a lot of friends and a lot of Mexican friends, friends of Mexican origin. Yeah, lots of girlfriends. I mean, even today, if I think of like, yeah, it might have been the people I dated the most in my life. Like a Mexican woman. And then I went back to Switzerland for 6 years after the US. And yeah, over there I would miss a lot, like San Diego. And I could not eat Mexican food, you know. Like I went to, there was this place, they were making a burrito. And I went and I saw it was like 32 francs, Swiss francs, something like that. So I had this like, yeah, I could not have Mexican food in Europe because I was just like, I might pass out like crying, you know. And because, yeah, I worked a couple of years for, my boss was Mexican, and then he gave me so I started working for him, and then he gave me like an opportunity to manage a restaurant, and that was the full-on like a Mexican experience in San Diego, you know, because like I'll be working with, well, I had all the layers, you know, I had all the people freshly coming from Mexico. I had people that kind of were speaking English with broken English, but they knew how to speak. And then I had more the waiters and stuff. Like I had like what in Mexico they call pochos, like they're fully integrated. They're U.S. citizens. I mean, they're Americans with Mexican ancestry. But it was a lot of fun. Like, I mean, we'll work like, you know, a lot of hours, like 6 days a week, sometimes from, you know, 60 to 100 hours, like depending on. But well, I had a manager position. I mean, probably for that too. But we'll have fun. Like, I mean, it was just like, you know, like I'll come back home. I'll be super tired, and after work I'll go. Like if I had a little bit of time, I will go and play some music, record some Black Sea Storm songs, and then I'll come back home like, you know, really late, but I'll be content. Like I was like, man, today I've done, you know, I really took, calma, whoa, so many dogs. And yeah, I'll be, because when you work in an environment like that, it's just like, you know, all the coworkers are like, I don't know, maybe I was lucky. I mean, it was a good environment. It's like you're working with nice people. It's always like easygoing. But I mean, we work hard, but we don't make it hard, like on ourselves. Like we don't. So we like more like work focus, and then yeah, good vibes, and also like you socialize a lot. You know, people are coming. I mean, it's a restaurant, and you eat Mexican food. And like our restaurant, it was more like that was the concept. I mean, my boss back then, he wanted to do something authentic, so we had moles, we had albondigas, we had real Mexican food. And we first didn't have burritos. and people will come, they're like, I want a burrito. And we're like, we don't have burritos. And they're like, are you kidding me? You're a Mexican restaurant. Like it didn't fly. I think we resisted like a week, less than a week. Then we had to put it on the menu. We had this like a California burrito. Yeah, I mean, like people are like, yeah, that doesn't fly in California. Big ass Mexican restaurant and you don't have a burrito. It's So in 2017, I moved from Switzerland to Argentina. So I wanted to open a coffee shop there, and I had that plan, and so I gave up on that plan at one point. And I was really missing San Diego. Like I was really missing San Diego, and I decided to become a nomad at one point. And so I started because I had a permit to be in Argentina through school. Then they raised the tuition of the school, so I quit school. And once I quit school, I couldn't. I lost my DNE, my residency. So I started doing like a visa run with Uruguay, and that's when like I decided to become a nomad. I was like, wow, that's fun. So I bought like a backpack and then I had this idea. Yeah, I'm gonna go north. I'm gonna go north, and I'm gonna do all Latin America and end up in Mexico, and eventually cross the border. And one way or another, and go back to San Diego. That was kind of my plan. And then I think it was like March, or I wanted to go. I was like, March. That's when March, April. That's when you want to. Because June, July, August, I don't like the weather in Buenos Aires. But then I met like two guys, a rhythm section, and we started a band in Argentina. So it delayed my plans, but eventually, they kicked me out of the band, and I was. So I gave up on the idea to do all by land, but I went directly to Mexico. And that was my first time in Mexico. Well, when I used to live in San Diego, I would cross the border before September 11th. I will go to Mexico, on the weekends. So technically, I had been to Tijuana, but never been to. My really first time in Mexico, it was in 2018. So this video, I think I'm going to do in two parts. So that will be the first part, and then I talk more about. I went there 6 times, to Mexico, 6 visits, and I think overall, last time I counted, it was like a little over 3.5 years. I think I spent, and I lived in 23 cities, different cities. Well, live, some of them, I passed like a lot of time. Some of them, a couple of nights, but also there are many cities like that I visited several times. I think Mazatlan, I've been there like 6 times, Querétaro 7, Mexico City like 3 times, 3 or 4. Hermosillo, I went twice. Oaxaca, I went twice. Ciudad Cauquel, Merida, I went there twice. So so I haven't like visited the entire country, but I think I might know Mexico better than most Mexicans. Like I had the chance to really travel. I did all Baja and all that. So yeah, in the next video I'll talk more about the Mexican adventure and how Mexico killed my American dream. That'll be the next video. Thank you for watching. I see you in the next video or another video hopefully.